Vishnu Bhakti Pradre Satya Vachanamo Namah
Vishnu Bhakti Pradre
Vrindaya Klasidevya Priyaya Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pradre Satya Vachanamo Namah
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanajari Yamuna Tiravanajari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsas Totara Pravarkacharya's Divine Grace Abhay Charana Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Premse Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Gangamai Ki Jai, Shri Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyanathanamanda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bir Krishnadas Goswami Nitinamine. Namo Hamsane Kashaya Prabhupada Priyate Sudrida Sudi Nisyambam Tasha Vakya Nuvadine. Hare Krishna, good morning. Today is Mahashivratri. Haribol. And as Vaishnavas, we are we venerate Lord Shiva as the greatest Vaishnava. We understand that he is the topmost personality who meditates on the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu at all moments. And within that is how he conducts himself throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, and since he has 84% of the qualities of Lord Krishna, obviously he is a very exalted personality, which we can understand as a part and parcel of Lord Krishna of the highest degree, 84%. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, has written and expressed about Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is not exactly like a living entity, Jiva, but he is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His position is somewhere between Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Brahma, the living entity. Lord Shiva is therefore explained in the Brahma Samhita 5:45 in this way. Shiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tata pritag asti heto yas shambhutam api tata samupaiti karyad govindam adipurusham tamam bhajami. Lord Shiva is considered to be like yogurt, dadi. Yogurt is nothing but transformed milk. Nonetheless, yogurt cannot be accepted as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva holds almost all the powers of Lord Vishnu, and he is also above the qualities of the living entity, but he is not exactly like Vishnu, just like yogurt, although transformed milk is not exactly like milk. Learned scholars in transcendental subject have carefully analyzed the summum bonum Krishna to have 64 principal attributes. All the expansions or categories of the Lord possess only some percentages of these attributes, but Sri Krishna is the possessor of the attributes cent per cent, and his personal expansions possess up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. That would be like Ananta Shesh, etc. Lord Shiva possesses almost 84% of the attributes. Lord Shiva is considered the father of this universe and material nature, or Goddess Durga is considered the mother. Shiva is neither the Supreme Lord nor a Jiva. Shiva is the form through which the Supreme Lord works to inject the living entities, the Jivas, into this material world. So Lord Shiva is actually in charge of Tamo Guna. So he's a Guna avatar. And he's actually in that incarnation as a guna avatar, as we know that Brahma is creation and Lord Vishnu is the maintenance, although Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sutta Goswami states, the transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance, and just for the world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. As the god of annihilation, Shiva is responsible for destroying the universes during the partial and complete devastations, which occur respectively at the end of each day of Brahma and at the end of his life. And Srila Prabhupada writes, the dissolution of the three worlds is effected by the incarnation of darkness, Rudra, Shiva, represented by the fire of eternal time which blazes over the three worlds. Shukadev Goswami says, therefore, at the end of the millennium, the Lord himself, in the form of Rudra, the destroyer, will annihilate the complete creation as the wind displaces the clouds. So Lord Shiva is a very interesting personality. We know him from various stories within the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll read about a couple of those things, but just personally speaking, throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see so many instances of Lord Shiva actually being extremely compassionate, like more than Krishna in a lot of cases. He gives so many boons to those because he's Ashutosh, he's easily pleased. He gives so many boons to persons that probably are not very deserving, such as demons, who usually want to take those boons and do nefarious things. So Lord Shiva actually is the most compassionate. Lord Shiva wears a garland of skulls around his neck because he's always in the crematorium. He's always associating with the bhutas and hobgoblins and different disembodied personalities. Personally, I can say that, compassion for me goes to a limit, and if I see somebody that looks like a bhuta or a hobgoblin or a ghost or a demon, generally most persons would go in the other direction. But Lord Shiva is so compassionate that he is bound to try to help these personalities, to try to deliver these personalities into the realm of the Lord, to help them understand their path. And in this world even, he tends to, maybe some of you have seen, be very attractive to those who are, his unconventional look and his mannerisms tend to attract those that maybe normally wouldn't be attracted even to a spiritual process. But Lord Shiva, in his ultimate compassion, is able to kind of create that little hook that can bring people into the fold. It's said that many times if someone is a staunch worshiper of Lord Shiva, that he will certainly become a worshiper of Krishna at some point in this life or a next life. And with that sort of compassion, Lord Shiva is the most well-known, particularly in his dealings with some of the demons. He also sheds a lot of mercy on the Vaishnavas, but there is a lot of difference in the way that he blesses the Vaishnavas. He is always pleased with the pure devotees of Lord Krishna, and Shiva himself says, Ya param ramha shad shakshat trigunaj jiva samdhyanat bhagavatam vasudevam prapana sa priyo himi. Any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the control of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. There's actually a lot of information in the 4th canto about Lord Shiva, about how he looks, and I just wanted to kind of go into that for a minute, because I think that a lot of persons are a little bit, when I see depictions of Lord Shiva, or I have seen them over the years, he does have the moon in his hair, matted locks, where Mother Ganga came to down to the earth planet on his head, through that, and the garland of skulls and ashes on his body and from the crematorium. But there's actually a very wonderful description in the fourth, just very brief in the fourth canto, because he's actually, being a part and parcel of Krishna, he's very beautiful, actually. He's a very beautiful personality. When I first came here, I had heard so much in the Bhagavatam and the Srimad and the Bhagavad Gita about the fallacy of worshiping demigods. Prabhupada speaks very strongly about when the worship of demigods is not really the most direct route when in the worship to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada cautions against that quite often, about the minuscule worship of demigods. He does talk about Lord Shiva and the worship of Lord Shiva, but when I first came to Krishna consciousness over 20 years ago, I was very afraid of even thinking about Lord Shiva, because he is quite attractive. He's very, he looks unconventional. He has a very open nature, very compassionate, and for persons such as myself and others who come from mixed backgrounds, he seems very attractive, being so compassionate. But at some point, I understood that, worship of Lord Shiva, or the attraction to Lord Shiva will grab you and bring you to Krishna at some point in time, and that it's okay. It's okay to actually, see Lord Shiva as a part and parcel of Krishna, so we can better understand really just a small part of the Lord's mercy, actually. When the Lord incarnates as so many different Matsya and Kurma and so many different avatars, Lord Nrsimha, that's generally to provide a full spectrum of options for everyone and anyone to somehow come closer to the Lord, to become more attracted to the Lord. So he provides unlimited expansions. The Lord, Krishna provides unlimited expansions whereby someone can actually become attracted, a little bit attracted. As jivas in this world wandering around, we're kind of jaded, we're basically catatonic. People are catatonic walking through this world. I'm sure many of you have seen. They don't even know where they're at sometimes. They don't have proper discrimination. They have a poor fund of intelligence. They're misguided, misdirected. They're suffering very horribly in this world. So having at least someone as compassionate as Lord Shiva, obviously that will help, and all of the incarnations of the Lord will help to bring them. And let me just find this. I thought I saved, because it was such a beautiful description, actually a physical description of Lord Shiva. And some other points about Lord Shiva. As you can tell, I've come to understand and be quite a fan of Lord Shiva. I'm very in awe of him for all that he does, all of his compassionate moves, and, obviously very strategic in a lot of ways, especially, a Shaktivash avatar is empowered by Krishna. And so he has, of course, all of the intelligence and guidance, so he can help the fallen conditioned souls to first come to him, and then by that trust and love, he can take those persons to the Lord. Actually, I think before that, I wanted to get back to reading this description a little bit more about Lord Shiva and one of his famous pastimes with King Vrikashura, or the demon Vrikashura. Let me just scroll to that. Yeah, this is a fun pastime, and this actually encapsulates everything that we hear about Lord Shiva being the most compassionate. He's very satisfied, he's very easily pleased, and he's also very easily angered since he's Ashutosh. But this demon, Vrikashura, he was desirous of a boon, and so he went to Kedarnath to try and connect with Lord Shiva and thereby please him. And at Kedarnath, there's a sacrificial fire that's constantly going on. So Vrikashura, or Vrika, sat down at the fire, and he thought to please Shiva, he should just offer pieces of his flesh. So he was shaving off all sorts of pieces of his flesh and offering it to the Lord. This is somewhat like Hiranyakshipu when he went to offer boons, or offer his prayer for boons to Lord Shiva. He was in the, at some point he was encapsulated in the anthill. So this is worship in the mode of ignorance, and this is where Shiva becomes summoned, because if someone's trying to gain some power or gain a boon from things such as standing on the toes for 10,000 years and allowing ants to eat the flesh of the body, or shaving off pieces of flesh and offering into the fire. And then Vrikashura was actually preparing to cut off his own head to offer to Lord Shiva. Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya, state that worship is in the mode of ignorance. And so, of course, Lord Shiva, seeing this, regardless of what mode it is a great sacrifice that one is doing. He saw what was going on, and he came to Vrikashura and said, "What do you need? Why have you summoned me? Why are you doing this?" Vrikashura replied that he wanted this. He wanted a boon, and Lord Shiva was like, "Okay, so be it. What is the boon?" And Vrikashura asked to be able to touch someone's head, and the head would explode. He would be able to kill people just by touching their head. And Lord Shiva, a lot of times Lord Shiva, Narada Muni, these great personalities who are so compassionate, and I keep highlighting the compassion portion, they're so compassionate. He said, "Okay, as you wish, as you like, And so Vrikashura wanted to test the boon, so he started to chase Lord Shiva all around. And Lord Shiva was, not pleased that someone had turned on him, but it's to be expected. So Vrikashura, continued to chase him around and try to test out this boon. And finally, Lord Shiva had to go to Lord Vishnu and beg, this demon, he's run amok and he's trying to kill me and kill you. Actually, he wanted to be able to touch the Lord Vishnu's head so he could kill him, He's a demon, he's very envious. And Lord Vishnu said, "Okay, well, let's figure out a way to neutralize this, this boon." And so Lord Vishnu actually posed as a Brahmana. He just went into a different he was able to be recognized just as a normal Brahmana, And then Vrikashura approached him to touch his head, and the Brahmana was like, "No, this isn't, how do you know it's going to happen? And then you're going to create an offense." And so Vrikashura hadn't understood yet that he had this power. So he still was trying to test it out. And Lord Vishnu actually somehow convinced him to touch his own head. And then he would see, poor fund of knowledge, he would see if he had that capability, because if he touched his own head, then he would know. So the demon was amenable to that. He was like, okay, let me try it. So, sometimes Lord Shiva and Narada Muni, we've seen, they're compassionate almost to a fault. They let things go to the very edge, and then, of course, Krishna will always, when summoned, Krishna will always take into account his pure devotee's request and do as he is asked. So he's taking care. Lord Krishna will always take care. But, in the meantime, Lord Shiva, he just is sincerely trying to help. He's trying to help those persons that don't have any other hope. And I'm sure everybody knows, after the Rikashura had come in contact with Lord Vishnu, then, he's actually going to be saved also by Krishna. So many demons get to that position where they're thinking about Krishna so much. And, thinking about Krishna, that's part of the 9 processes of devotional service, is remembering Krishna. If they're constantly ruminating on Krishna, even if it's in a bad way, Krishna's he's so compassionate and kind that he still gives those persons the ability to come to him. And Lord Shiva is just, he's kind of, I'm going to say he's a cog in the whole machine. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. And so Lord Shiva, he's never fully acting 100% independently, right? All these things are what we read about in the Srimad Bhagavatam, so we can better understand how this material world and how the spiritual world, how this world works. So let me get back to, this is in chapter, maybe it was in the database, I think. Canto 4. Yeah, the 4th canto, yeah. And let me, because I got into reading Prabhupada's transcript. 24, okay, yeah, because there's a very beautiful, it's called the Rudra Gita. When Lord Shiva goes to the sons of Prachini Bari in chapter 4, and he discusses spiritual topics, he actually begins to expound greatly on the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna, or Lord Vishnu. So that's in the 4th canto. It starts approximately at text 33. But I wanted to get to the point of actually his physical characteristics. Just read a little bit about it, because it's kind of interesting. I think there's a lot of miscommunication or sort of designation of Lord Shiva a lot of times. So here he arrives at the Prachetas, who had been, they were underwater for many years. You probably know they were underwater for many years. They were meditating and purifying themselves under the water for many years, the Prachetas. And this is text 24 and 25. The Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. Shiva never goes anywhere without his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish, Nilakanta, and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Prabhupada remarks, The word vibhudannugai indicates that Lord Shiva is always accompanied by the denizens of the higher planets, known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras. They are very expert in musical science, and Lord Shiva is worshipped by them constantly. Lord Shiva is sort of the god of music and dance, practically. You know, he never goes anywhere without his traveling personal band, the denizens. In pictures, Lord Shiva is generally painted white, but here we find that the color of his skin is not exactly white, but like molten gold, or a glowing yellowish color. We always see Lord Shiva depicted completely as bluish, dark bluish, sometimes a little bit blackish. Actually, that was just his throat from that time that he drank the ocean of poison. So that was just his throat. Otherwise, he was molten gold. Because Lord Shiva is always very, very merciful, his name is Ashutosh, easily pleased and easily angered. Amongst all the demigods, Lord Shiva can be pacified even by the lowest class of men who need only offer him obeisances and leaves of a bael tree. Thus his name is Ashutosh, which means he is pleased very quickly. Generally, those who are very fond of material prosperity approach Lord Shiva for such benediction. The Lord, being very merciful, quickly awards all the blessings the devotee asks of him. So we see this a lot in this world. When I came to Krishna consciousness and I started to understand a little bit more the position of Lord Shiva and spoke with people, devotees, a little bit more about Lord Shiva. Many of the devotees had grown up worshiping Lord Shiva because that was the family custom, and that was to gain the pleasure or gain the favor and gain benedictions from Lord Shiva. The demons take advantage of this leniency and sometimes take benedictions from Lord Shiva which can be very dangerous to others. For instance, Rikashura took a benediction from Lord Shiva by which he could kill everyone he touched on the head. Although Lord Shiva sometimes very liberally gives such benedictions to his devotees, the difficulty is that the demons, being very cunning, sometimes want to experiment improperly with such benedictions. For instance, after receiving his benediction, Rikashura tried to touch the head of Lord Shiva. Devotees of Lord Vishnu, however, have no desire for such benedictions, and Lord Vishnu does not give his devotees benedictions which would cause disturbance to the whole world. So even to the extent that he's giving benedictions that might disturb the whole world, this is how compassionate, this is how he goes out of his way. Lord Shiva is the most compassionate. We hear about the compassion of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, obviously through the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Through the chanting of the holy names, even the lowest of the low can have the benediction to understand Krishna a little bit. So by that chanting, in this age, we have received this great boon from Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And still even more compassionate, though, for those who can't chant. I mean, Lord Shiva hangs at the crematorium where the disembodied beings tend to congregate. They can't chant even. They don't have bodies. So what do they do? What do people that have derangement of the mind, or if they're demonic, what can they do? They can't, somehow they don't have the capability or the capacity to chant. They don't have that intelligence or the discrimination to be able to understand even what the holy name is or the benediction that it can give. They don't have that knowledge. what do? All they can do is they can actually rely or by some way they can come in contact with Lord Shiva, who is this most exalted Vaishnava. He's so kind. He's so kind that he dips down into the lowest dregs of the jiva or the demon or the disembodied, or we hear about all of the I don't know all of their names, but the different the Bhutas, and if anybody remembers those names, there's all those sort of beings that are like the goblins, hobgoblins, witches, ghosts, the disembodied, all these personalities. Lord Shiva, in his infinite compassion, dips down to try and bring these people up. He tries to, or these personalities, he tries to bring these souls up to some kind of level where they can at least be stabilized, and they can start to understand a little tiny bit of his greatness, Lord Shiva, who still is an incarnation of Krishna. He's Shaktivashavatar. He has 84%, almost 84% of the qualities of Krishna. By just even coming in contact with Lord Shiva for a little bit of time, and it may not be, they may not have the wherewithal to understand Krishna, but by that contact with Lord Shiva and chanting Om Namo Shivaya, understanding Shiva's position as the Shambhu. He's actually, Siddhantically, he's the glance of the Mahavishnu. When the Mahavishnu, who has nothing to do with material creation, zero, he never touches material creation. Mahavishnu just glances over the pradhan, which is kind of the elements that aren't really formed yet. That glance is Shambhu. That's Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, who is constantly beating on his damaru drum, he's constantly being musically accompanied by so many denizens. That rhythm, that music is life to the universe. And by the glance of the Mahavishnu in the form of Shambhu, then all of those, everything will form. That's how the pradhan starts to become form. It is formless, but by the grace of Shambhu, it becomes formed. And that's where everything starts. All of the jivas, from the lowest Indragopa, or the lowest, microscopic amoeba, to the highest. That's how, certainly not Lord Brahma, but that's how everything becomes formed. So we actually owe a great debt to Lord Shiva. Some of us have become very fortunate by coming in contact with the pure devotee walking the planet, Srila Prabhupada, through his books, through his disciples, and he gave us the holy name that we can chant, and we can try to understand Krishna, how to please Krishna, how to serve Krishna, that we're part and parcels of Krishna. We can understand those things, those of us in Bhakti Yoga, but let's all give props to Lord Shiva, who actually goes down, even deeper down, to try to rally those persons that are kind of in the twilight. They're not really, able to practice Krishna consciousness, and they're not unable to do something to remember Krishna. They're not unable. They can actually latch on to Lord Shiva with his infinite mercy and his infinite beauty. We see all these depictions, as I was saying earlier, of Lord Shiva, and he looks pretty far out. He's, he has 3 eyes, and he has, he's only wearing ashes for the crematorium, some kind of a tiger skin. He looks pretty intimidating. He looks unusual. But that's all part of Krishna's. So does Lord Varaha. So does Lord Nrsimha, Adbhuta Shringa. He's not a conventional. The Lord is not conventional in his attraction. There's something for everybody. There's a taste for everybody in the Lord's attraction. So all glories to Mahadev, Lord Shiva, who is our compassionate role model. Hare Krishna. I will. I need it still. Jai.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalayataksam Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govinda. What happened?
Page 56.
56.
Oh, hey, Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori. Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori. Diya parachaya sorohe amaya tomara charana dori. Diya parachaya sorohe amaya Tomara Charana Dori. Jaya Begadomi, Jaya Dosha Shori, Jaya Guna Deho Dashe. Jaya Begadomi, Jaya Dosha Shori, Jaya Guna Deho Dashe. Jaya Satsanga Deho He Abare, Bosachi Sangira Se. Jaya Satsanga Deho He Amare, Bosachi Ekaki Amara Nahi Payabala Harinama Sankirtane. Ekaki Amara Nahi Payabala Harinama Sankirtane. Tomi Kripa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namadane. Tomi Kripa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Amito Kangala, Krishna Krishna Boli, Daitava Pache Pache. Amito Kangala, Krishna Krishna Boli. Amito Kangala, Krishna Krishna Boli, Daitava Pache Pache. Amito Kangala, Krishna Krishna Boli, Oh He Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Edashe Karuna Kori. Oh He Vaishnava Thakura, Doya Sagara, He Karuna Kori. Diya Parachaya Sora He Amaya, Nomara Charana Dori. Sora He Amaya Dori. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Radhe. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Shri Vrindavan. Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet. Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults, bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association. I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just 1 drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. I am simply running behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Cheto Darpanam Arjunam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Sreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavajujivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnam Daswadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Nitami Amita Smarane Nakala Etadrisita Vakripan Bhagavan Bamapi Durdaiva Midrishangi Hanganina Nuragaha Trinadapi Sunichena Tarurapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagarisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Bhavatad Bhaktira Tuki Twai Ainandantanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddho Kripayam A+. Nayanam Narunam Pulakarichitam Babukadam Paramamanik Bhavishyati Yugayitam Nimeshena Prakshusha Pravishayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahename Asli Shava Parapanamanastu Mamam Adarshamam Marka Karutuva Yata tata lampato mat pranastu eva napa. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering my moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace and makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shikshastakam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, the greatest Vaishnava, Shambhu, Lord Shiva ki jai. Today, please join us at 4 o'clock for our wonderful and supercharging Sunday program and feast. Today we have a special guest feature. His Grace Adi Gadadhar Das, who so nicely, I heard him yesterday expounding on so many of the beautiful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's that time of year where we're absorbed in the Goloka. So please join us today. He will be speaking at 5 p.m., and that's followed by a sumptuous feast. Hare Krishna. Okay, also, along with the beautiful kata, we'll be having an hour of storytelling and dance. Today's wonderful presentation is entitled The Advent of the Ganga. Please join us. Very exciting evening of events to glorify both Lord Shiva, Lord Gauranga, Lord Nityananda. Hare Krishna.